Hey everybody, welcome back to the More Memories Creative Workshop. It's your host, William Xavier, and kind of excited with this particular project that we're going to do today. So continuing with our Caribbean Adventure scrapbook, these next two pages are going to be about one of the information sessions that we went to on board. Was about the Caribbean, and as you can see, there was a focus on rum, and rum playing a very prominent role within the area, and how it added to economic development through, trade, and then of course, along with that came our other favorite topic of pirates. And we're all familiar probably with the wonderful franchise of Pirates of the Caribbean. And so I'm kind of creating a 2-page spread that I envisioned to discuss some of this information as a treasure map. So I've already worked on one half of it, and I'm going to put together the other half for this. And what I'm envisioning essentially, right, is a map that kind of folds out, and we can kind of see that right here on this page where I've got some information, and then this part is going to flip out. And once I put my protector on, I'm going to put this little 12 by 3 peekaboo, or 12 by 3, 2 by 3 peekaboo over here, and it will flip open, right, and give us information. And so I have a couple of these that I'll be incorporating on the other page as well. And so it's just a nice, neat, fun way, I thought, to use some of the different size peekaboo pockets. And then also having just a unique kind of interactive aspect to the album, where this particular section will come through the page protector. And I'll probably put it in a 6x12 peekaboo and kind of tuck it in, tuck the adhesive side underneath here so that it stays protected. So we'll explore that at the very end, but you can see the general direction that we're going to go with the other side. We're going to tear our main paper. We're going to tear our other paper here. So I'm using 2 different sets. With this, I'm using the Legacy of Love, and it's the kind of the parchment print there. And I've already cut that in half, 6 inches. And then I'm using this parchment print from, I'm calling it a parchment print, from the Copper Canyon collection, the first Copper Canyon collection. This will be the base of my map, and this, as you can see, is the top of the fold-out. And then I've got little page embellishment here with the new wave punch that came out with the fishing adventures in this year, and Rolling Sails VMC that I gave some inking on. And of course the title will finish on the other side, so we'll read a brief history of rum and pirates. Or of pirates and rum, figure which way I want that. But this was also cricketed out in caramel and inked with rich cocoa as well. So let's hop to it. So let's get our things together. Page protector there, page protector there, move these to the side. So the first things I need to do is going to be tearing my base paper that I'm going to need. So I am going to be using the tearing tool. And I'm going to be using the kind of the scalloped side of it. And I'm going to do this on 3 sides. I'm going to do it on the top, the bottom, and then the right-hand side. This side will stay flat or straight because this will go up against the jeeping on the page. So, let's see here. So I need to do 1 inch at the top and the bottom. Double check my measurements. Actually, no. I need to have a 10.5 by 11.5. So I'm going to tear the side first. And I'm just going to tear off a 1/2 inch. Get my tearing tool straight here. Multi-purpose tool, get a little leverage here, lift up and tear. So folks that might be joining that are new to this, I'm using the Creative Memories tearing tool, Peaks and Valleys. Yeah, Peaks and Valleys. And I'm using this middle slot here to insert my paper to kind of give extra security, holding it down. I'm pulling up on my paper and pulling over to the opposite side. So I'm going from left to right here to get along the edge of the tearing tool all the way down. Okay. And I'm going to do this side again. So I need a 10.5 inch total. So however you want to do this would work. If you want even ripped strips, you could go, you need about 1.5 inches off. So, you could go 3/4 and 3/4. You could do 1 inch and then a 1/2 inch. Which is probably what I'll do. Do 1 inch here. Okay. I'm going to turn this around and do the other side at 1/2 inch. And I'm going to double check that measurement real quick. So I'm just going to take those peaks to the edge here of my line on my mat. And the edge of this paper lines up at that 11-inch mark. And I can just come in at 1/2 inch. And that way, I'll have the same size paper on the other side. Okay. Now I'm going to take the 6-inch piece of the Legacy of Love print that I want to use, and I'm going to do all my ripping at once. Right, so I need to rip this one edge with my tearing tool because I want the same pattern. So I need to try to line it up as best as possible. I'm just gonna line this up with one of my inch lines here. I'm not wanting to take off a whole ton of it, so I want to kind of get it close in here to the edge, but enough that I'll be able to still get those rounded peaks. Right. And then I'm going to bring this, I'm going to use this as a little guide to kind of see, you know, okay, I'll be able to hopefully pair that up. Now this one's a little bit tougher. I'm going to get my tweezers to kind of help me start this off because I don't have much area here to pull. So I'm just going to use my tweezers to help kind of get that going. And see if I can then just use my fingers. So for the most part I can, but I get to those peaks, the crest there, I'm just going to need to use my tweezers to help me get through that again. Okay. And excuse me, folks. Sorry, a little frog in my throat there. I've been dealing with some type of cold virus for the past 11 days. Not that I'm counting or anything. All right, here we go. And it's just a little bit more cumbersome for me doing this way just because I'm using my right hand. I'm left-handed. So I should have really flipped this to the other side, but it's okay. This is just going to give some more character to things. All right. Got that. Now I'm going to want to make sure it pairs up as much as possible to the top and the bottom. Right, so here I've got where it's going to really overlap. So, and actually, it's actually going to overlap on it's going up this way. So I need to make sure it goes this way. Okay. I'm going to turn this on the side. I'll line this up again so I can get the right size that I need. And the right tear that I will need. Because they kind of need to line up. Alright, so we got these here. Alright. I'm just going to rotate my mat because I've already got things situated there. Slide that out. And slide it in. Okay. That part didn't roll. There we go. All right. So I've got my tearing. I'm going to get my rich cocoa ink. And I'm going to edge the sides. Again, to give some of that antiquing look. And for those that might be new joining us, right, I'm just taking the Dewdrop ink pad and I'm just grazing it across the edge here, kind of slightly overlapping the pad a little bit past the edge because I want a little bit of that ink to come off and bleed up a little to kind of just help give that that kind of antique feel. And then I'm going to do the same thing on my main map page. And it might get a little cumbersome. Find the best way that will work for you to kind of hold the paper to get your inking. Other side next because it's a little bit harder to do the longer edges than it is the shorter ones. Oops, I just lost my ink. All right, found it. And I'm not too worried that, right, I'm kind of crunching the paper a little bit here and there. You know, I mean, the premise of this page, right, is that it's an antique, you know, pirate treasure map. It's you know, it adds to the aesthetic of it not being crisp and perfect and everything. So I'm not too worried about that aspect. right now. Okay, so I just want to get a little more in that corner. Sometimes the corners doing this, it's a little bit tougher because they're not as sturdy to get a good, hold on it. And you just go around and just kind of touch up any other areas that you might want a little bit more. Too. I think I'm pretty good there. I got one last tear to do, and that's going to be on this straight edge. And we're going to do that real quick. And I'm just going to use a straight edge ruler. And I'm just going to really be taking off just a sliver. Again, right, because I don't want to take off too much. So I'm going to actually be using my tweezers to help me with this one because I can't get my fingers in there. And I'm just going to give it a little scoring with, running the closed tweezers along the edge there. You can see it's pulling up the paper a bit, just to kind of help give myself a little bit of a guide while I'm ripping. So same principle, I'm just grabbing the paper with the tweezers, pulling up and over. And you're going to see like this will give a little bit more of a rougher tear, which is, another aesthetic. I've done it a few times and I've liked it. So I'm just going to use it again. Okay, as you can see, it's a little bit of a rougher tear there. And I'll give that some light inking. As well. Okay. There. We're on a roll, aren't we? Okay. Next, we're going to score the bigger piece, our 10.5 by 11.5. We're going to give a score at 5/8. So I'll get my trimmer here. I'll pop out my blade. And you might notice, right, I am using the newly released Creative Memories updated 12-inch trimmer. It's got all of these wonderful guidelines marked now, so I don't have to try to figure out where things are. So I'm really in love with that feature. So I need 5 3/8, and with this new trimmer, it's going to be a cinch to find 5 3/8. 5 3/8 is right about here. And I'm just going to give a score. With my scoring blade. I'm going to give it a nice little fold to help with that as well. And so now I'm ready to adhere, and actually I can tear a little bit more off of this one. So we'll do that next, actually. Let's get this lined up. Power will be on the page. I'm just gonna bring in my ruler. I'm not gonna go right to the edge. I'm gonna give just a little bit of clearance there. Okay. And this one I can use my hand with. I got a bigger piece I can work with. And for this technique, right, I'm just pinching the paper and pulling up and over, just like with the regular tearing tool. Okay. So sometimes that might happen. The measurement might be just a tad off. We just tweak it as we need to. Myself a lot of re-ink real quick. That's fine. I'm not really looking for a hugely bold line there. And we'll get some adhesive. And then I am going to adhere. I'll line up my papers. I might have slight little overlap, and that's okay. What I can do is I can just cover those with some extra ink. If I need to. So just get this out. Ink there. Ink over here. Okay. So now I'm going to get my pages. So I'm going to adhere it to my base page. I got my twin page here to kind of help me with lining everything up. And I think I'll just use the jumbo tape runner for this one. Okay. And then just line it up and adhere. Actually, I need a little bit of ink right here. And we'll go right here. Try to get a little more there. Okay. All right. And so here we're going to have, right, here's our map coming together now. Great. Let's kind of jump over here and get the bottom part added real quick. So we've got this. And get my silicone mat. Okay. I'll fit that way, or am I going this way? Let me go that way. All right. Put some repo tape on. And I'm just eyeballing kind of where I'm placing this, matching it as best I can to the other side. Get my rolling sails cut out here. And I'm just gonna pop the top here, the water, because I want it a little overlapping. Set that all the way over to the edge there. And I just want it to just be covering, you know, the edge of the rolling sails. The bottom of the rolling sails. Okay, we got that. Awesome. So we can start kind of putting out or putting together our pieces here. And I kind of made that a little small. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to resize that photo. And reprint that photo. Just because I kind of forgot about that part when doing this. I should have remembered and double checked, but that happens sometimes. So that's not a huge concern for me. I can, or actually, see, I thought I had printed this with the border, but I didn't. So I can actually just recrop that afterwards. So I'll hold off on putting anything on that side. And then on this side, this. So I'm just going to dry fit some more of kind of what my other pieces that I have are. And the pieces that I have here, right, are really just images that I looked up online and printed off. And then I gave some ink and, you know, ripped them and gave them some ink. All right, so I got some information about the Kraken. That's going to be fun. Just some history, other history about, you know, this one talks about one of the practices actually of on board ships was watering down the rum and so they called that grog. And that actually was a practice up until the 1970s in the British Navy. Sailors would get a daily ration of grog, which was watered down rum. So I want to make sure I can fit my little treasures that are in peekaboos. So, and I don't want to put anything really on that score line that isn't going to fold easily, so I just want to be careful about that. Maybe I'll put grog up here. Maybe I'll put the Kraken more down here. I need another island piece, I think. Let's kind of look at this as a whole. There we go. Maybe I'll put that over here. Move grog over here. I can fold the island into in the scored part. Maybe I just kind of do some extra trimming along here, just to kind of give a different, just maybe get some space. I can fit in maybe another ship here. Maybe I cut these islands again, or maybe I put, maybe they'll go there. Right. So I'm just dry fitting right now, but I'll once I kind of finally decide where I'm going to put everything, I will definitely take a photo and post that for everybody. We can see the final result. But I'm probably going to do something similar to that, because the other part that I want to then get us situated with is our page protector. So, the reason that I did it this way is because I want that interaction piece, right? I could just have, this part adhered totally to the page, and then have put my this top part, the Legacy of Love print. I could have put that into a 6x12 peekaboo and just put that on top, and it would flip open similarly. I just didn't want to have it separated. I wanted it to I wanted to keep it together. And so that's why I'm doing it this way. Actually, I'm gonna open it up and put the protractor on. There we go. Yep, okay. Yeah, I'm putting it on this way because then I can get in here, and then I can get the flap to come through. So I made a slit in the page protector in order to do this part. And so here now, you see, I have my page protector, but this part comes out. Right? And so what I can do then is I can use a 6 by 12 peekaboo still to protect this part in the album. Right. And I can have it adhered in here, so that way I'm just figuring this out as we go right now. So I'm just gonna tuck this in. Right now, just to kind of see the mechanics of it and how to make this work the best way. And it might not work, so I might just end up not doing this at all. So it works that way. It might not work the way I was thinking. But that's okay. So maybe I won't put maybe I won't put the peekaboo on it. I was thinking it might work tucked in, but I'm thinking it probably won't. So I'm not going to be using a peekaboo on this part. And that's okay. I wasn't entirely sure it would work. So then I'm going to get my other page protector. And I'm going to get a piece of cardboard. And this is just cardboard from something. But if you have any paper packs that had cardboard backing in it, that would be kind of a good one to use as well. And you could use your trimmer to do this part. I'm going to use a blade, a hand blade, and a ruler. And so I'm going to just lay this over. I want to see. So I need to make a slit in this somewhere around here. So I'm just going to make a pencil mark the top and the bottom, just enough to see it, so that when I slide this piece of cardboard in, I'm going to put it so that it's at those marks. It just about meets those marks too. I'm going to line up my ruler. And then I'm going to cut. Make sure I've cut through the whole thing. Okay. So now I've only made that cut on one side of that page protector. And I can just erase the pencil mark. And then I'll put my page protector on. Yeah, I know there's easier ways to do this. I'm just not doing it right now. And I forgot I need to have this open. It's okay. There we go. Okay, and this found its way to the opening. There we go. Yep, and then get this folded in there. There we go. So there we go. So now I've got my treasure map. I got to finish my title on this side. Now I've got my treasure map. I open it. So now all I just have to do is just come in and just do my arranging. I can put my peekaboo here on this side though, because it's ready for that. So if you're new for peekaboo pockets, they're going to have that adhesive. Here's the little pocket. Adhesive is going to be on this top part that does not have the open slit to slide in. But you're just going to peel off the adhesive, fold down, and then place. And you should be able to place, you know, up to 5 times or so. If you have to kind of rearrange it a bit, you should be able to do that, you know, up to 5 times or so. So I'm just going to line this up here, put it down, and there I go. I've got a peekaboo pocket that gives us a little bit of treasure when we open it. So ARRR, I got me treasure. So I will be kind of doing the same thing with the Kraken ones and the Grog on this page. So like I said, I will work on getting that together, and then I will post a photo in the group showing, you know, the final result. So, and if I find a way to get a peekaboo over this top part, I will definitely do a little update on that. But for right now, it looks like it's not going to be, and that's okay. I wasn't too sure if it would, but now I've got a nice little interactive map page to kind of just play with when going through this and remembering everything. So hopefully you enjoyed, and of course, if you have any questions, any thoughts, or even suggestions, if you've done something similar, would love to hear about those. Feel free to drop them into the comments for all of us to share. And if you need anything, definitely reach out. You can either reach out to me at, through More Memories, or feel free to reach out to your favorite advisor, and we're always happy to help. And as always, be safe, be well, and happy scrapping. See you next time. Hey everybody, William Xavier here with the More Memories Creative Workshop. And just as a follow-up to the last video with where we are doing this treasure map, I believe I figured out how to incorporate the 6x12 peekaboo to cover our flap. And so I just need to get this one off. So it's going to involve a little cutting of the peekaboo pocket itself. If I can get this to slide off. There we go. Okay. So what we're gonna need to do is, on the peekaboo here, we're gonna have to cut in 5/8 of an inch on the top and the bottom, and then cut that strip out. And so I'm just gonna get my ruler here. I'm just going to use my micro tip scissors. And I'm just gonna go sideways here. Just put my ruler down. I don't, it doesn't have to be any particular inch. I just need 5/8 in. So yeah, okay. So I'm just gonna bring my micro tip scissors to the very edge, make a snip to get in there, and then I'm going to go 5 inches, which is the first big notch after the 1/2 inch mark. So that should be good there. I'm going to do the same on this end. So I'm just going to get an inch there. And slide in, give a little snip to get in. And then I'm going to just snip to 5/8. Okay. I'm going to take that piece of cardboard I used to make the slit in my page protector, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to insert it into the peekaboo. Here, I'm going to get my ruler. I'm going to then I'm going to line it up the end of those snip marks. Get a straight enough edge here, and then I'm just going to cut this little strip of the peekaboo out. Okay. I'm gonna get my page. And because what I figured out I needed to do was that I need the fold part of the peekaboo to pretty much line up with that scoring mark, though I need it to be just a tad bit, I might just need it a tad bit beyond it. So that's where I'm going to now put this over. Get out of here. I'm gonna see where I need to place it. So here's my score mark. And I might just need to place it maybe 1/8 of an inch past that. And just test that to make sure that's what I would need. No, this one might just be Actually, so, okay, I'm gonna come in about 1/8 of an inch towards me, down, not past the score mark, but just before the score mark. So I'm going to go ahead and take off my adhesive strip here. And actually, I forgot to do one other thing. So on my peekaboo, I'm going to just, at the top here, similar to cascading pages, I'm going to trim off, I'm going to angle my scissors and trim off the corner. So I should have remembered to do this before I took the adhesive off, but that's okay. Just going to trim off this corner so it doesn't interfere, oops, wrong way. So it doesn't interfere with the edge of the page. Okay. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna lift up my peekaboo because it just got a little adhered, that's okay. Oh, everything's moving on me, all right. All right, and I'm gonna bring this in. Thinking it needs to be around here. And so I'm just gonna gently fold, kind of see, it should be good enough. And adhere it down. Now I'll get my page protector, open my flap, there we go. Put my page protector on. Have to guide it a little bit here, just because the peekaboo overlaps it a little bit. So it's gonna be a little bit of a tight squeeze till I can get to my slit in there. But once I'm there, I'm gonna pull my peekaboo through. And I may just have to make a little bit more room in the page protector. I'm just gonna give a little trim there, so that way I can pull that through. So this one just broke. So I'll just redo that. But do this one. Oh, I was using the wrong one on it anyway. So, okay. No worries. Since we already got ripped, I'm not too worried about that because I have plenty extra page protectors. So I'll just recut a new one. So I'll just have to be a little bit more careful with this time. And hopefully it'll work the way I am hoping. Caught on the underside. Okay. So I'm just going to keep going slowly. I might just offset some of that tension holding that down. Keep going slowly. And there we go. So, success. And so there is a little bit here that is not, not protected, but I mean, that's just going to be what it is. So, and then I did that on the other side as well. So I will just recut another protector for this, and then voila, we will have our pirate map that will fold out. So now I'm more happy. So anyway, thanks for bearing with me, and hopefully this is something that you might want to try. And yeah, so as always, be safe, be well, and happy scrapping.